Hi guys, it's Ben Heath from Lead Guru, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create Facebook custom audiences, and I'm going to show you how to create Facebook custom audiences in a post iOS 14 Facebook advertising world that we're operating in right now. Custom audiences and how you want to use them have changed a bit, so I'm going to show you how to create the Facebook custom audiences as we used to do it, and also how we would tailor that now for post iOS 14 and how things operate, and how I'd recommend you think about creating your custom audiences and how you think about retargeting on Facebook. Before I get into that, I just want to very quickly ask you to click that like button. Please click that thumbs up button. That helps me out a lot. And of course, subscribe to my channel if you are new and haven't done so already. I release Facebook advertising related content all the time. Okay, so I'm in an example ad account and I'm going to go through this process sort of step by step. So let's go ahead and jump over into audiences. And I'm going to show you how to create these Facebook custom audiences step by step. Okay, so as I said, this is an example ad account. There's all sorts of things in here that you don't need to worry about. There's a whole bunch of demonstration related things in here. But if we go ahead and go over to create audience and then we select custom audience, and we see we've got a bunch of options. Now, as you're probably already aware, custom audiences include people that have already interacted with your business before. So when you're talking about retargeting or advertising to warm or hot audiences on Facebook, you're talking about doing so to custom audiences. And if you've been playing around with your Facebook ad campaigns, you may have seen at the ad set level, there's this custom audiences section. And you may have wondered what that is. Perhaps you went to YouTube and searched for Facebook custom audiences and that led you to this video. But you can see that when you go into the audiences section and when you bring up the custom audience tab, there's just tons and tons of stuff here, okay? I'm not gonna go through every one because I don't think that's necessary. But what I do want to do is highlight the custom audiences that we focused on previously. And we're still going to be advertising to those custom audiences, but we're going to be looking to add in a few others depending on what it is you're looking to do on the platform, okay? So the first thing that we would always recommend doing is uploading an email list and retargeting those people. So you want to create an email custom audience. So you would do that by selecting customer list. If I click on next, and then you can see that there are a number of different options, and I'm not going to go through the process because it will depend on what you have. You can import directly from MailChimp. So if your email list is stored in MailChimp, it's super easy. Click on that and go through the options. You can also upload your own list. So you can see it says download file template. You can put in the information that Facebook needs in order to be able to match the people that are on your email list to Facebook and Instagram user profiles. That's how Facebook basically works out who it is that you want to retarget. But you can go through the step-by-step process. Obviously, that's not something that I can upload and show of our customers. But once you click on there, go through that, upload that information, and great. And what I'd recommend you do is that you create a custom audience out of your email list, so everyone that subscribes to your email list, assuming of course you have one. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. And also your customer list, again, assuming you have one, you're not just getting started. Those in my mind would be two separate custom audiences. We would have an email list containing all subscribers that haven't bought from us previously, and then we'd have another list that contains all subscribers that have bought from us. Again, you may have one of those, none of those, all that's absolutely fine, but if you do have those, go ahead and upload both, and that's going to want to be added into your retargeting mix. And then we come across to website. So if I go ahead and click on next. Now, obviously, to do this, you will need to have the Facebook pixel installed on your website. And I have videos that show you exactly how to do that. So check out the video description. There'll be links to exactly how to install the Facebook pixel if you're not familiar. But what I'd recommend you do here, and it's what we typically do when we're creating custom audiences, is we make this 180 days and we go with all website visitors. And that's a starting point. You can get more specific or more detailed later on. But to start with, you want to create a custom audience from everyone that has visited your website within the last 180 days. Okay, that's the largest website custom audience that you're going to get. And that means that everyone that visits your website that isn't opted out because they're an iOS 14 user and they haven't opted in, is going to be tracked and added to this custom audience. And that's a fantastic audience to be able to advertise to, because of course we know that people who visited your website, just like people who are on your email list, are much more likely to buy or become a lead than people who've never interacted with your business before. That's why retargeting is so effective. It's why you want to be advertising to Facebook custom audiences, okay? So we make this as large as possible. There's all sorts of arguments around, well, shouldn't we be more specific and go with audience that have only visited within the last 14 days or have only got to the add to cart stage? And you can do all that if you want. but you also want to be advertising to the largest audience possible, particularly in a post-iOS 14 world, because we want to give Facebook as much opportunity as possible, as many people as possible, for Facebook to then be able to work out who is most likely to buy, who to put your ads in front of. And that's even more important with some of the data that we've lost and some of the people that aren't going to be added into these audiences after the iOS 14 updates, okay? So you want to give that a name, click create audience. We've already got that in there, so I'm just going to go back. So those would typically, pre-iOS 14, those would be the 3 custom audiences that we would be looking to advertise to. We'd be advertising to all website visitors, a customer list and an email list, as I mentioned, if you have them. We may look to add in some more specific ones previously, depending on the business. If the business was generating just hundreds of thousands or millions of website visitors a month, we might get more specific on the website custom audience. Obviously, if it's a different type of business and there's app activity, then we look to do that. But our sort of standard bread and butter go-to was previously those 3 custom audiences on Facebook. That's what we'd be retargeting. Website visitors, customer list, email list. Okay, those are your 3 warmest audience most likely to buy. Now, I think it's worth adding in on-app custom audiences, in Facebook custom audiences, or in Instagram custom audiences as well. And that's the stuff that you have down here. You can see you've got your sources, so that's sort of external, your website, your app, your lists, even offline activity for certain businesses. And now we've got the Facebook sources section. Now, the custom audiences that come from Facebook sources, and I'm going to get into those in a minute, the people within those aren't typically as warm as the people that are within your sources custom audiences. And that's because they haven't necessarily left the apps. They haven't necessarily left Facebook or left Instagram and taken an action that shows they're really into whatever it is that you have to offer. And that's why we didn't include them previously, okay? Because they just weren't as engaged, weren't as interested. They hadn't taken enough of a step to warrant, in many cases, being retargeted. But we now know that from your sources, the website custom audiences have shrunk considerably because the iOS 14 users, the vast majority of them are not going to be included in your retargeting audiences, which is a shame, but nothing we can do about that. So we now think it's best to increase the size of your total custom audience pool on Facebook by adding in some in-app sources for custom audiences. And remember that iOS 14 restricts Facebook and Instagram's ability to track what people do after they leave the app. So what they do on third-party websites and apps and things like that. Well, if you're retargeting people based on in-app sources, so videos, if someone's watched a video of yours on Facebook, or engaged with your Instagram account, for example, that's not being affected by iOS 14, and it's not going to be, because that's all within the app itself. You're much more protected going forward if there are new privacy rules and things brought in place. These custom audiences are going to stick around even if these continue to be further affected, which they may or may not be, we don't know. So, which ones of these Facebook custom audiences that you use as a Facebook advertiser will depend on what you're doing as a business. Now, if you are advertising using video content, or you've got a significant Facebook page following and there's lots of views on those videos in there, then absolutely one of the custom audiences that you want to be using on Facebook is a video viewer custom audience. So if I go ahead and select video and click next, it's interesting that Facebook have put it top. And then the way this works is you can create, just like you can create a custom audience for people who visited your website, you can create a custom audience for people that have watched a video of yours on Facebook. And there's a number of different levels that you can use here. So as you can see, Facebook have these, 7 options. People who have watched at least 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 25%, all that sort of stuff. Because I prefer retargeting audiences to be sort of notably warmer than cold audiences, I think it is worth going for higher percentages than 3 seconds, 10 seconds, stuff like that, okay? So usually I would be selecting at least 25%, often 50% of the videos watched. And that means obviously that people will only be added to this Facebook custom audience if they've watched at least 50% of your video. If you've got a really long video, if it's 5-6 minutes long, then it's fine to go with a lower percentage. If your video is 45 seconds long, you may even want to go with a higher percentage. So you have to be somewhat flexible and fluid with this. Then once you've selected your percentage, you want to go ahead and click on choose videos. Then you want to make sure that you've got the right Facebook page selected, obviously if you've got access to multiple Facebook pages like I do. And then you want to go ahead and select which videos you want to apply. You can see Facebook gives you like view totals, so maybe you just want to go with some more popular videos. Maybe you want to go with all of them. That's absolutely fine, but just go ahead and select which ones you want to use. Let's just take like that and that one, for example, just a couple of videos that don't actually have many views, have only just been published. Then retention, 365 days is the maximum. That's what I'd recommend you go with. With custom audiences, the better, the bigger, the better, provided you've still got people that are nicely engaged, okay? So it's no point, as I said, not no point, but if you're just going with 3-second video views, someone could watch a video of yours for 3 seconds and not remember you in the slightest. But all things being equal, you want to include as many people as possible. So 365 days is best. Give it a name, pop a description. In fact, let's just go ahead and do that, shall we? So example, video, custom audience. And if you can get really specific and granular with this stuff. So if you just wanted to target people who have watched a specific video of yours with the product or service that is applicable to that video, and perhaps create different custom audiences for different videos and match them up with products, that's absolutely fine. I've got more sort of detailed tutorials on how to break that down and things like that. Just check out my YouTube channel for all that sort of stuff. Then let's go ahead and click create audience. And don't worry about this for now. And let's go ahead, create audience, custom audience. So that was video, okay? Number of different options. You can have loads of videos lumped in, just go with specific. It's absolutely fine. The way we'd normally set this up now is we'd go with either 50% or 25% video watched, 365 days retention, and then we would select all the videos that we're using in ad campaigns. It's typically how we do it, right? If you are using lead generation campaigns, then it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and try and use, if you're using lead gen campaigns, you will be able to use lead form Facebook custom audiences. Okay, if I click next now. Okay, so like with all different types of Facebook custom audiences, there's a number of different options. You can create a custom audience from people who opened this form, people who opened but didn't submit, people who opened and submitted. These people are likely going to be included in your email list or something like that anyway. And this is the highest level option. Anyone who opened this form is obviously going to include those two below. So again, you can get really granular with this if you want. If you wanted a specific retargeting campaign to people who had opened but not submitted, that's all fine. I'm going to have more details on that. But to start with, anyone who opened this form is fine. And then go ahead and add in, I don't believe there are any lead forms associated with my page at the moment, but go ahead and add in any lead forms that you're currently advertising or have advertised that you think would be appropriate. Retention for this one, maximum is only 90 days, and that's what I'd recommend you go with. And then let's go ahead and put example lead form custom audience. Okay, this is another great warm audience option. Oh, I haven't got any lead forms, so I'll have to cancel out that one, but that's fine. You can see how you just click done and that would be that. So if you are running lead generation campaigns and want to be able to retarget, want to be able to use Facebook custom audiences, that's exactly how you do it. There are obviously other options with instant experience, shipping, events, things like that, but I want to focus on two of the most common other types of on Facebook sources that you're going to use for custom audiences. Well, actually, the first one is Instagram. So if I go ahead and click next after selecting Instagram account, and then this is another type of custom audience that you can create, basically an Instagram custom audience. So I can see people associated with my Instagram profile. And again, there are a number of options that you can select. So you could create a custom audience from everyone who engaged with your professional account. Facebook gives a lot of great information here. Includes people who visited your profile or took an action on your post or ad, such as likes, comments, saves, carousel swipes, You could do anyone who visited your profile, people who engaged with a post or ad, people who saved a post or ad. So there are, again, varying degrees of specificity. Which one you want to go with will depend on what you're doing on Instagram and also how much volume you have. If you've got a massive Instagram profile, okay, maybe you just want to try people who saved a post or ad. But for most people, you want to go with the largest custom audience here and go with anyone who engaged with your professional account. That is absolutely fine. Retention, maximum 365 days, like a lot of on Facebook custom audiences. That's what I'd go with. And then I go ahead and create Instagram. In fact, I'll call it example so I know what I'm talking about. Example, Instagram custom audience. Okay, that would definitely be another one we would look to create. So anyone who's engaged with my Instagram profile gets added to this custom audience. Another good one to create. All right, let's close that down and let's go ahead and select custom audience again. And the last one I want to talk about is your Facebook page. So if I go ahead and select that and click next, then we can see that, again, very similar to Instagram. So there's people who have engaged with your Instagram posts, Instagram ads, visited your profile, etc. You can do the same with your Facebook page. There's, again, a whole bunch of different options. So you could go people who currently like your page. So I have almost 160,000 Facebook page likes. I could target those. Everyone who engaged with your page. So this includes people who have visited your page or taken an action on a post or ad, such as reactions, shares, comments, link clicks, carousels. Again, that's likely to be a smaller custom audience than people who like your page, but I've got more information about page likes and the value and how to get them and stuff in other videos. So again, check out my YouTube channel if you're interested in page likes and this current one up here. That's not what I'm going to go with right now and not what my default would be. So I want to make that clear. You do anyone who visits your page, anyone who engage with the post or ad, people who click call to action, people who saved any posts. So similar to the Instagram options. Again, most people are going to want to go with the default. Everyone engaged with your page. That's going to create the largest audience, most likely, other than this one at the top here, the page likes. But that's a bit of a different audience. And with the low organic reach on Facebook, I've got, I'm sure, 100,000 plus people who are like my Facebook page that very rarely engage. So that's a sort of different story. But that's the option we're going to go with. Again, retention, we want nice, big Facebook custom audiences where possible. So we're going to go with 365 days. And then we can give it a name. So we can go with example Facebook custom audience. And we're going to create that. Okay. So as I said, let's... there are other options. You know, if you're running events or things like that, then that might be something that you want to play around with. I'm not going to include it in this video because if I went through every single option, it would be 3 hours long. And it's not going to apply to the vast majority of people that watch this. The vast majority of people are going to be well served, plenty served with the 3 I mentioned up here, assuming you're not an app-based business, but the 3 I mentioned up here, the customer list, email list, website visitors, and then video viewer custom audiences, lead form custom audiences, Instagram custom audiences, and Facebook page custom audiences. Now, you don't have to, I've sort of demonstrated the 4 main ones, but it's probably quite unlikely that you would be using all 4 because if you're not running lead generation campaigns, you can't use lead form. If you're not running video ad campaigns, you can't really use video, so they would be out. It may be that your business, you're advertising almost exclusively on Facebook, almost exclusively on Instagram. Either way is absolutely fine, but again, that's going to affect which one of those you want to focus on. If all your ads are going through Facebook and Instagram, custom audience isn't going to do anything for you. So you may end up with all 4, but you may end up with 2, 3, absolutely fine. Go ahead and create those, okay? And that's what we're going to be looking to add in. So what I'm going to do now is jump back to Ads Manager, and we're going to go and have a look at an ad set and show you how you add in these Facebook custom audiences and how we would set this up in a post iOS 14 world, okay? Because things are slightly different now and we have to adapt. Okay, so here we are back in Ads Manager. I've got a new conversions campaign set up actually. So let's go ahead and select that and let's go into the ad set level. It's obviously where we do our targeting. So let's scroll down now to this one here. So let's get rid of the lookalike. That was for previous video. Just please ignore that. Okay, and let's add in some stuff here. So we can add in all website visitors. So we've got all website visitors as an audience. And you can see, look, Facebook's literally telling you the size of your website custom audiences may decrease. They definitely have decreased because of iOS 14.5. We know that, and that's a lot of what this video is about, right? So we're going to add that in. We're going to add in, you know, email list. If I've got an email list in there, not one that I created just now, but one that's just in the account. And I don't believe there will be a customer list in here, which will be the case with a lot of you guys. Yeah, there's no customer list. So if you had a customer list, you could absolutely go in and add that in, or you could just add an email list, but that would be the setup, okay? Now, often we would have customer list in here as well. And that would be the 3 that we used to target. But now we're going to want to add in those other ones if possible. So we're going to want to add in an example Facebook custom audience. So those people that engage with our Facebook page, right? Much bigger pool of people. We're going to want to add in the Instagram, and in this case, we're going to want to add in video. We can't add in lead form because in this scenario, my page, I don't run lead generation campaigns on my page. Well, I have done for testing purposes, but not typically, and that's absolutely fine. That may well be the case with you, so this is a good example. But that's often what we will look to now add in to our retargeting ad set. And that is how I'd structure things, by the way, a retargeting ad set as opposed to a retargeting campaign. And I'd have this within a CBO campaign. If you want to know more about that, check out, there'll be a link in the video description below to a video all about how to structure a Facebook ad campaign. And it will show you how we structure our retargeting ad set, not a retargeting campaign. But we'll look to add these in. Now, you have to be somewhat flexible with anyone's content, including mine, and apply it to your own specific circumstances. This is often what we're going to look to start with now in the post iOS 14. We're going to add these three at the bottom. But if you have a massive email list, if you've got, I've got 45,000 people on an email list, and I don't even know what my website visitor audience would be, but big, we may not look to add these three in because the people in these custom audiences aren't going to be as good quality as the people in website and custom audiences. That's very important. So it's a quality versus size trade-off, right? Like that's how it works. If you believe that these audiences up here, your all website visitors and your email list custom audiences are quite small, then absolutely you want to be adding in these other custom audiences. If these up here are really large and established, then this becomes a lot less necessary. So you have to apply it to your own individual scenario, okay? A lot more established Facebook advertisers, larger ad accounts, things like that, probably aren't going to want to add these in. And the other thing I obviously want to mention, like all things Facebook advertising related, is test. Very easy to go ahead and test how a Facebook page custom audience performs. Does it do well? You'll see in the data. Yes, it improved our performance. No, it worsened our performance. If it did well, keep it in. If it didn't, take it out. You found out a really valuable piece of information and it hasn't cost you the world, and you can then move on. Very, very important thing to always keep in mind when it comes to anything Facebook ads related, including your Facebook custom audiences. Okay, so hopefully that tutorial has been helpful, showing you how we're now creating Facebook ads custom audiences and how we're treating those post iOS 14. Before you go, a couple of things I want to quickly mention. The first is a free webinar I've created called 3 Killer Facebook Ad Strategies to Double or More Your Revenue. And in this webinar, I really break down sales funnels and strategies of how do you get someone to buy a $30 product? How do you get someone to buy a $10,000 service? They're different sales funnels, which is why it's 3 killer Facebook ad strategies, not one. And that webinar breaks it down in a lot of detail for you. So if you haven't seen it, strongly recommend you go ahead and check out this webinar. It's completely free. Links in the description below. 60-70 minutes long. You'll be very glad you went through it. I can assure you. If you're not sure on your sales funnel and your strategy, which is the most important thing when it comes to Facebook advertising, to get that right first, definitely go through that. Other thing I want to mention is my Facebook Ads Mastermind group, which has 109,000 members. Amazing community full of Facebook advertisers just like you, asking questions, getting them answered. I'm involved in the group every single day. I do free live trainings in there. I answer questions. I post content. Just a great, if you want to get better at Facebook and Instagram advertising, just a great place to be. One of the very largest communities in the world of Facebook advertisers. So go ahead and join. Again, completely free. Link is in the video description below. And we'd love to have you. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment below to let me know. That's always much appreciated. And of course, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I release Facebook and Instagram advertising related content currently twice per week. And yeah, best of luck with everything, guys. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.